Welcome to the Word Bible Software and thewordbooks.com. Today we are looking at the Word Sneak Peek Features Bible View. Last time we looked at part 1 or general overview of the Word Sneak Peek. Today as we dig in, we're going to get into the Bible View. So going back to the Word Sneak Peek version book here, go into the Bible View, open this section. Now note, we're going through these helps. There may be a few more items listed in the changelog, but these are some things to get you going, and this should really get you into the features. So by default, the Word allows you to access all installed Bibles by the Bible View bar. And if you have a lot of Bibles installed, it's like some of us, like if you look at mine, well, it's off screen, but I have a lot of Bibles. Let's get in here to this one, for example. Okay. And it's kind of, maybe you use just a certain grouping. Maybe you're in Greek study mode or Hebrew study mode, and you need just a few of them. So this Bible sets, they group them, and you can do categories, you can do different things like that. And I would like to go in here and go into this, and here's some sets I have already. I can edit some sets. This is an excellent feature that Rubio Terra brought in for us. And let's go into I want to just do Greek and Hebrew. Now it brings my list down to a smaller functional list, and you can see my Greek and Hebrew in here, and I can get into those areas and check them out. I can put these Bibles in here and just switch through them, and it's very helpful to bring that in. What if I want to do maybe I just have a compare list, and this is helpful in another area of the Word Bible View. What about maybe just my Spanish Bibles or different items like there, or maybe my more popular ones. Whatever it might be, you can also go back to all Bibles. And so Bible sets are very helpful, kind of like module sets. They're very easy to use, very useful, and you can. Some things they had originally been in here, and the help hasn't been updated to include them now as an item here in the title bar. So that should get you some ways on Bible sets. You can, let's look at editing these sets. So let's get into this one, and I want to just edit the set. You'll see a familiar pop-up. You've been in this area, and you can get in here, and you can select make sure you're on your set. I want to be in this set, and I would like to just add this, and I can now go and save it into here, for example. Now I have one more Bible in there. Okay, so not very hard to use, very nice. Make sure you follow through and do these, and check this feature out in the Word Sneak Peek. We have a new interlinear option. Let's see. We'll come back to interlinear. There is a lot in here. Since it's in order, let's just go down through it. Interlinear options. So let's go to the interlinear. It's also called column text, sometimes interlinear. We're still working on the name what we want to call it. We were concerned if we called it interlinear, people would be expecting to have English and Greek or English and Hebrew. An interlinear can actually be different languages. It could be English and Greek. It could be Greek in Strong's and morphology, for example. So this is one. For right now, it's called column text. We'll see what happens with the name. And there's a lot of options. So let's go in and let's get into a Greek Bible for now. Now note, let's go to Byzantine A. We'll go into column text. Primarily this is for official Bibles or official Bibles, yes. That we've been working on getting them into a better support. Unofficial Bibles don't always have the features that are required, so please do not bring unofficial Bibles to our attention. If it's an official Bible and it doesn't seem to be working, let us know. This is also something you need to submit in issues in the GitHub after you understand how to do that. So I'm going to, when it's in a full chapter mode, it does take a little while to load, as you noticed. But to make it so we can use this quicker, let's go into the Bible options and we'll turn off the full chapter mode. I don't want that right now. I just want one verse at a time. And if you put it into the one verse at a time mode, which is an excellent way to use it. Let me turn on another Bible view. And let's just go into... let's do the Amplified Bible here. Let's put this up on the... let's go to the right above here. Okay. Actually, let's bring this guy down. Okay, and then I got him a little bit bigger here. Let's minimize it. So in this one, we have a lot going on. So let's sync it. Let's sync that one, and let's sync this one. And this is how it is really a good way to work through. And this becomes like an all-out interlinear in a sense. I'm going through an English text. Now, the tricky part with Greek versions is not all English Bibles are matched. For example, the Amplified Bible is probably better off to pair with the NA27, but I just have it paired here with the Byzantine accented. And so you can see here, I'm on verse 30. Let's go to verse 38. And this goes ahead and refreshes here. For there was also an inscription above him in letters of Greek and Latin. This is the King of the Jews. So we can go down through here and check this out and look at those words. And this is right here. Ho Basileus ton Iudaeum. So the King of the Jews. Now there is a lot of features, especially in this interlinear view, which also added some additional features to the main Bible view. So I'm going, so we can see for comparison's sake, I'm going to put it actually on the same Bible in both views. Now, most of the settings are turned on here. Let me set the settings over here for lemma. Let's put it in show no link, show no link. We're going to go ahead and hide a lot of these because it just works out a little bit easier and apply. Okay, so most of them are hidden in this view. Most of them are showing in here. We have another one. There's a more advanced one. Oh, word click, no. Let's see, column text. Yes. Okay. We're going to go through these. Okay. So let's go into verse 36 here. Actually, let's go to a famous passage, John 1:1. Okay. Now, in arche hein o logos kai ho logos in proston theon kai theos hein o logos. Okay, so now in here, so we remember we have, let's look at a few interlinear options specifically. Okay, in here on the interlinear options we have, and some of these pictures need a little bit of updating because there's been some more additions. We could do word wrap. So if I go apply, and that will wrap the words, and so you can now go down and look through them this way if you wanted to keep it all in the view vertically. But sometimes it's kind of nice to look at it in a horizontal way. And this is similar to Logos's one verse at a time view. And then you can scroll through it and look at it and check out different words and see what they're doing. Okay. I do recommend you could also go and say, oh, I want to look at overlapping verses. So I just added a 1 here. And this adds additional verses before or after, and after the verse, I believe. So we are what's before chapter 1 of John would be this verse, which is in the previous book. And you can go into John over here, and you can continue on to verse 2 as well. That is if you want kind of a contextual basic view. Now, of course, you can just jump to the next word, or verse. So go back to this. Okay, continue back in here. So that is the basic interlinear / column text, and there's also the chapter, which is slower, it warned you. I prefer one verse at a time. So, in here, we have in, and let's make sure all the features are turned on in this. So in there we have lemma, We have lemma. We have gloss. We have morphology. We have original word transliteration, and Strong's. Okay, so in here, and there's a lot in here now. And this also are available in the regular Bible view, so the non-interlinear view. So we call it the normal view now, normal Bible view. So not the column text view. But in here we have, of course, our original word, N, our original word transliteration, which also links into your dictionaries that you've set up. You have a gloss. You have your Strong's, of course. You have a lemma. That is now visible. You have the transliteration of the lemma, and we have the morphology. So the gloss throws in, and this is built off using data that's been put together by a gentleman from Greece and a gentleman from the United States, and they've done a lot of work in here. Now these are glosses. I recommend you go to dictionaries to do a full study, but they kind of help you go through. So and so what would be arche? So is it one of these words? It's option C. In this particular one, beginning. Existed. So in the beginning was the word. And this is you have to look at the morphology here. This is the past imperfect, third person. So you can get a little bit more of that information here. Imperfect, active, indicative. Okay. And I guess imperfect would be better than past. And you can see in here also, let's turn the video back on. Well, I'm in that area, so we will turn it back on. Let me get over there. And I'm going to go ahead and... I keep grabbing the wrong thing. And I'll be right here. I might look like I'm looking in a different direction, but I'm not. I'm looking at the word. Okay. And so and the word was the word, and the word, and the word was, and you got two toward with God, and the God or God, and God. This is not a God, this is God, was with the word. So, and we get into that, and there's some things you can check out there. Now, going in here into the normal view, if I hover, let's get it in. I got a lot. Let me turn off. The Bible lookup. Okay. So if I, I see, it's not the Bible lookup, but it is kind of that. Let's turn that one off. No, let's leave it up. Okay. Well, for temporary, I'm going to turn off Strong's. That you've used that before. It's in there. It works. Okay, so logos. You have, of course, the word transliterated. Even if that version doesn't have it, which Byzantine with accents does actually not have transliteration in there now. And then you have the gloss as well, if you have that up. And then you have your morphology, and then you have your lemma and the lemma transliteration. And of course, you can do your Strong's and different items like that. Let's get that back in there. So all these features can be shared between. Maybe you want certain ones, and you notice there's different settings, whether you're in the column text or not. And I'm going to turn off the morphology. I'm going to put that into this the gloss, and put it into a link. And I'll just do it this way. When I hover the word, I can look up the morphology. There it is. Okay. The gloss. Okay, continuing on. There was a lot in interlinear. There's more to do. So just going through, we have the lemmas. We'll look at those briefly. With your lemma options, you now can set a different dictionary for a Hebrew lemma and a different dictionary for the Greek lemma. So there's two different there. You can set up a global override, and this has gotten quite complex now. There's a lot in here. Let's get into, I'm going to do a AMGL. Okay, and you got your show no links, show this instead, caller, etc. So lemmas are more available. You can also use the Hebrew Greek font instead of Bible font for your lemmas. You got your lemma transliteration. So the lemma transliteration is now available, and that was down here you can see it in this bottom area. I'm going to put my camera back over here. 1 second. Okay, and you have up in here, if you look up in there, you show no link again, or you can do a definition only when control is passed, and you can use a non-biblical elements font. For example, let's go ahead and apply that. And it can change some things, like these letter E's can be a little bit more tricky. So those are some different areas to get into. Let's go down to original transliteration. And go to back in here, Bible options once more, and go through here, and you have original transliteration. You have the original word in pop-up if you want it, or if you don't, you can take that off. You got transliteration. Let's change the color to, let's do blue lip gray. Show no link, and since we want to we're actually in here, we're going to go to in here, this color. Okay. And I put it in here. Now let's see if we change it up in here. The original word transliteration color is kind of limited in this particular area at this present time in the pop-ups, but in here you can change the colors quite easily. Going back in, you can do, if you want it, in control, and also use the non-biblical elements font. Continuing back, Bible glosses. This is a newer feature. It requires a couple files. This is in the state of flux somewhat, but it's getting there. There's quite a bit in here. This is where Steve and, a gentleman named Steven and another Mr. Pagontes, I'm not saying his name right, helped develop this using a database. And those databases, if you don't already have them, are right in here. Unfortunately, at this point, they don't indicate a green checks if they've already been downloaded. But there's a Hebrew and a Greek database. Okay, and the Hebrew one is from another resource that's more like a Creative Commons, and so it's free to use. In fact, if you would like to see that, let's go into, I want to go a WLC, and now sometimes it's a little bit interesting with some of these, what's available as far as when you do a word. And since these Bibles do not have what's called an original word concept built into their regex, that can be fixed. We've upgraded some of them. Let's get into the Genesis 1:1. And so when you hover it, you have in Bereshit. And this is actually in here, and then there would be another word here, but since it's not divided in this particular version, let's go into the WHM, and it's divided in here. So we should have in, and then beginning, bara, Elohim, and you can see gods, but God, because it's a plural. In the object marker, heavens, the heavens, and an object direct object marker, the earth. And so these are very small glosses in here, so I definitely recommend the translation. You can also, if you want to have that in here, you can have it in here, and then put it on column text, and you can go through it and check that out. It's very helpful. Note the lemma here. I'm like, you know what, if you notice, it's not quite the same Hebrew, the same font. So let's go into lemma. Nope. Lemma. Oh, there we are. There we go. So it makes it a little nicer. Okay. Continuing on. So that Bible glosses, they're a very helpful feature. Oh, I don't know that we looked at so Bible glosses. You get to pick for the Hebrew and the Greek. Now, there are some words that, like in the Septuagint, for example, that we haven't got to defining. That's a great deal of work. We've been trying to look into some ideas for that, and just gives you some ideas. Okay. Continuing on, we have show and hide verse numbers. So in here, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. If I go in here and I go into show and hide, now the verse numbers are gone. And that's sometimes helpful to quote unquote declutter the Bible view. Topic word index version. This is an advanced internal feature. The idea behind this is everything's normalized, whether Greek or Hebrew, so that when you search, and if that dictionary wasn't normalized, it is now normalized. Don't worry about this. Just it makes the word work better internally when you do searches, whether the vowel points and things like that. It helps out a lot. Also, this is another internal, helps speed up the word. We went from some ANSI Bibles are now internally converted to UTF-8, or, well, basically they're viewed as UTF-8. Don't worry too much about it. Okay, compare view highlighting. This is one of those features. Let's get in here. I want to go to a group of Bibles to compare. Let's see, I'll do an English compare. Let's just do a simple one to begin with. Well, yeah, simple one. Okay, so in here, you notice that the highlights jumped right in and came on. I've turned it on. I can turn it back off. Before, you'd need to visually look through for comparing and see what's going on. Are the words different? Now you have a compare. It works best when you're comparing two Bibles, just two, because then it indicates the differences between the first and second Bible. If you do 3 or more Bibles, it gets more complex. It can only show you the differences in the secondary Bibles, not in the primary Bible, because basically the highlights could overlap, and that doesn't really work in the Word at this juncture. So the New King James and the NASB, the earth was without form, and here it was the formless. Okay, so we keep going on, over, face, surface, and notice there's not a word for one word ratio, because translations don't do that always. So just keep that in mind as you kind of compare. Now let's go into, so let's open this up. That's the 2 columns or 2 Bibles. And we would like to do a secondary mode. Let's go in and add another Bible in. Let's go into, here we go, we'll add the NIV 84. Okay, so now this Bible, if you right click, is called the base Bible, and these are considered the secondary Bibles. So they're being compared against this, but the colors or the highlights are only in this. There are some notes over here, 20% difference, 29 characters. Some of those things may be in a state of flux and testing, but check them out. With the highlights, you should be pretty accurate. As far as the percentage and character count, that needs some work. It works best in the horizontal mode. If you do it, it also works in the column mode. It just doesn't give you the percentage and the character count. That's the only difference, or basically. So you can get in here. And now let's go back in here into the Bible view option. Go down to, or go up to, compare view options. You got, of course, your side-by-side or rows or columns. You can go floating, turn off the alternate, hide Bibles. You got some, if you want to change the color of the information, the percent and character. Now these are, so we have light blue for the primary Bible, green or the base Bible, and green is for the secondary Bibles. Over here you can ignore case and diacritics and punctuation. Let's turn those both on. Notice the comma is now highlighted and indicated. We have over here, there is some differences in punctuation here. Let there be light, comma, let there be light, no comma, semicolon. This also shows differences between upper and lowercase. So note here in this verse 5. See the quotation marks and the comma. Let's turn off the punctuation. Okay. So now we have day. Let's go in a little bit further and see what happens if we turn on. There might be a little bit more in there. And actually, okay. Turn off case and punctuation. There we go. So it gets even a little bit more, and oh, I'm sorry. I was comparing between, and that's where you have to kind of pay attention. What Bibles are you comparing? Okay, let's turn these back on. And remember, we were doing secondary and base. Let's just do one base and one secondary. Let's turn this one off, right click. Okay, now it's easier. So there's a uppercase and a comma here. I was comparing these two secondaries, but they were being compared to the primary. So go in here and go back into Bible view, and let's tell it to ignore punctuation. So the comma is unselected. Okay, no biggie. Let's go in again and go one more time and ignore case. So day and day now. Now let's go back in one more time and turn on punctuation. So they both have a comma and the case is fine. The only difference was morning. So morning has a comma here and morning doesn't. Some of those features I usually leave these on, but every once in a while you do want to know, oh, there's a difference in there in the commas. Some things to check out and dig into. Those are the compare settings. Okay, separate Greek and Strong. This has been a feature we've desired because there are times, let's go ahead and put NASB up. You might be in NASB and you may want to be in the Old Testament, which that's where we're at, but you want a different, let's see, you want NASB? Maybe. Let's see, and go into Strong's. Now you can use the global override, which is actually set for the NASB. Or here I've done a Strong's. The Hebrew is UBDB and AMGL for the New Testament. So I'm going to actually go into a Bible. Let's see, BSB Berean. The reverse interlinear version. And it should have, yes, there we go. So we have now the Strong's for the UBDB pops up in the Hebrew. And if you jump over here to the New Testament, the Strong's now will pop up the AMGL. And so you can set those two different dictionaries, which does really help us out as we go there. You can also get into the global override. Now I did say there's a lot in here. So you can go in, some Bibles will let you do that. Some will say not supported. So this would be, you could do a Greek Bible override right in here. And so what this will be the primary setting. The Strong's number settings will be secondary. If I was to scroll down to the NASB, you'll see that there's two settings. Let's get over here to the NASB, and there's the exhaustive concordance is in here in the Strong's Hebrew, and I must need to work a little bit more on here. Oh, I see. Maybe it's just set for one, but that would be in both. That should be right here as well. Something maybe for me a bug to work out in the future, hopefully. Okay, so continuing back now, that's the Bible view. Next time we hope to get into the Bible search view and dig into some more items there. I hope this has been a helpful video for you in the Word Bible software sneak peek version. God bless.